Hello, everyone. Welcome to International TEFL Academy's Facebook Live. It's your favorite host, Tyler, by default this time because it's only me. But we're here to talk about teaching abroad with a diverse perspective. So we brought some of our ambassadors and some of our alumni here to chat with you as well. And we, like I said, this is Facebook Live. So we have questions you can send us. But I am with Alan and Kristine in Spain and Russia. So we're going to get them onto the screen here because that's who we want to talk to and hear from. So I'll just start it off. Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What were you doing before you went to Spain? And your degree and a little bit about your background.
All right, so I am 27. I am from Omaha, Nebraska. I went to the University of Nebraska at Omaha, go Mavs, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in communications, more so in journalism with advertising and public relations, with a minor in French. So I left the United States in 2014, right after graduation, and I first started teaching in Italy. And now I'm teaching in Barcelona, Spain.
Awesome. Thank you. He was also just showing off some of those French skills a few minutes ago. So maybe if we're really lucky at the end, I can show him my French that I know the 2 words and we can do that. Kristine, as well, tell us a little about yourself, where you're from, a little bit about your background and what led you to Russia, which is a pretty great place to teach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Kristine and I'm from Jamaica. I have a bachelor's degree in actuarial science, which I earned at the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. And I have a master's degree in industrial engineering from UC Berkeley. So I'm an engineer turned teacher. I used to work in financial services, banking and investments. And then life changed quite a lot about 4 years ago, and about 2 years ago, I went to Indonesia for about a year to an NGO, a very small NGO there, and part of what I needed, part of my job responsibility was to teach an English class, and I ended up really enjoying teaching English, and so I decided to become a teacher of English as a foreign language. I've been traveling all my life. Jamaica is very small, so we tend to travel out of Jamaica a lot. So I've been traveling all my life, but this type of travel is pretty new to me, where I'm living in very different places from what I'm used to. And I've been doing that for about 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, it's incredible. Awesome. Thank you. So I guess just share some of us, you explained a little bit about why you went abroad and kind of what led you there, but which TEFL certification course did you choose and what led you to choosing that and what led you to actually take the jump to enroll and to go teach abroad? Because that's something that a lot of people might be on the verge of. So what kind of led you to that decision? Alan, sorry, go with Alan.
Kristine, you want to go first?
Okay, sure, I'll go first. So I did the online course because I did it while I was in Indonesia, and there's no ITA in Indonesia. So I did the online course, which worked very well for me. I could do it while I was also working and teaching. So like my practicum was while it was so easy to get my practicum done because I had to be teaching anyway. So I did the online course. I found out, as I said, I had to teach just as a part of what I was doing, and I enjoyed it. Really, it was the best part of the job. It was the part that I loved the most, and I just felt like I could do better, but I didn't know how because I'm not a trained teacher. So I mentioned it to a friend who was also in Indonesia, and she said, well, she knew of someone who had done a certification. So I kind of just started looking around. She didn't tell me a specific place, and when I looked around, ITA came up, and I attended an informational webinar online, and it was very interesting. And people were very helpful. Like my admissions person was very helpful in getting me on board, and then just kind
So awesome. Thank you. For the record, I do have an official request for an ITA Bali, so I'll get back to you when we have that. Alan, what about yourself?
So I first got interested with ITA. It was one of those graduation was coming up soon. I'm going to be finishing college. What do I do next? I had just returned back from my study abroad in Chambéry, France. So it was an amazing experience that I can't put into words right now, but that led me to want to travel more, get back into a lifestyle of traveling to different places, searching for different cultures, trying different foods, as well as just living in a different country and accepting all those challenges. So
of.
I was still in my senior year and late nights reading through the articles on the ITA website between alumni as well as the different places where I could teach. And I started with a blackboard, excuse me, a whiteboard, and I had a marker of a thermometer, and I would save money every time, not only for the online course, but also to go abroad. So this kind of got me interested. I came across ITA. I think it was because of just typing in on Google TEFL certification. And the one thing that drew me in more was the support, not just support for when you're taking the course, but lifetime support. I've used it many times on, oh, I'm in Italy. I need to go to somewhere next to teach English because I don't want to give up this dream, this lifestyle. And with my advisor Hannah, we looked over some options, and I looked through the ITA Facebook groups of Spain and had the most activity, which was close to Spain. So I decided to go over. So the ITA Facebook group, as well as the never ending support, and also the option to earn a little bit of money by writing articles, drew me in so I could continue my travels. I took the online course as well as the business course that was separate and the young learners. So about 200 hours.
Perfect. Thanks. So you guys made these decisions. What were some of the concerns that you had before you went abroad, especially when you're looking at the articles, and it's great to see how exciting it can be, but what are some of the concerns that you had before you actually made the decision to kind of leave and teach abroad?
So I guess
Alan,
some
you
of the
want to go first
concerns
this
were,
time?
yeah, I'll take it. Some of the concerns were, I invested money into a TEFL certification. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get a job right away. And that was the main thing, getting a job, finding a place to live, as well as um, making friends, because when you're abroad by yourself, I love to do solo travel, but at times you're going to want to communicate with other people, whether they're locals or people like from your country. So those were some of the biggest concerns. But once you get abroad, everything just becomes into place and it just figures itself out.
For me, I might be a little bit atypical because I didn't really have any concerns. I was just so uh, eager to get going that the only concern I had was my ability to communicate. I was not at all like I had no exposure to the Cyrillic alphabet. I knew no Russian. I didn't even know the alphabet. So and like I was off, alone. So how would I be able even to read a sign or something? And just a few things I had read told me that in Russia, they're not like signs are not necessarily in Russian and English or something. So that was like my only very small concern. So I just kind of started learning the alphabet and started trying to learn a little bit of Russian. I didn't learn much before I came, but I honestly didn't really have any concerns because I just really felt like it was the right thing for me to do and the right place for me to be. So I just really wanted to get going. And I didn't really stop to have any concerns.
That's awesome. Well, what types of resources did you both use to kind of help you prepare to go abroad? You know, if there's no concerns, what were you looking at, some of the community groups and things of that nature? Kristine.
So I'm trying to think back to what I used. I'm of the opinion that I like to form my own impressions of places. So I try not to read too much about it before I go. So when I was coming here, to be honest, where I am, I had never heard of it before. This region of Russia, I didn't even know it existed. And it's actually the largest region of Russia. So I just kind of learned the bare minimum because I am a woman and I am traveling alone, so I can't be like just totally clueless. So safety is usually something that I try to be very aware of. So I just kind of searched a little bit to see what I could find about safety issues. And then I stopped reading because I don't like to have my opinion influenced by what others say. I like to form my own opinion, and I think first impressions are important. So I actually didn't do a ton before I came. I knew I was supposed to be here just from I saw the advert for the job, and I just felt in my heart that I was supposed to be here. So I didn't do a ton of research. I packed, and then I unpacked and repacked, and then I went and I got my hair products, and I packed again, and I unpacked and repacked because luggage weight restrictions, and then I repacked, and then I went to the airport and I left.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. What about yourself?
Some things that I looked at beforehand were using the website Bambi. It's a website where you can type in the city or a country and you get the average cost of living. So as was in my senior year and I needed to know how much to save in order to go abroad and be okay within the first couple of months or the first year because I didn't know when I was going to get a job right away. And this website really helped with finding out the correct or close to the correct amounts of money to save for me. Other than that, I used a Facebook group for Italy, for Florence, and that helped me secure my apartment right away. And just going in and meeting my roommate, which happened to be really awesome. However, if I were to do that part again, I would just land and hit the ground running and finding a place.
Awesome.
Can I just
Absolutely.
interject? My job, my school provides my apartment. So I didn't have to worry about finding a place, and they also cover my utilities. So I didn't have to worry about paying the bills. I only had to be concerned about having that first money before my first payday, buy groceries and do whatever other things. And because I had been working for years before that, I had savings already. So I wasn't, I didn't have to be super concerned about those things. So I didn't have to try and find a place to live and so on because my school covered that.
That's really important to say because I'm working with the school. I work under the table and you have to do everything yourself. So whether that's finding an apartment, finding work, especially if it's private students, that allows you to go out to either stay in one city or go out to all the other cities around or nearby towns. It's something to look at when you want to go abroad. Which route do you want to go? Do you want to go the legal visa way or a different way? And you will have your challenges, I believe, either way. But that was a good point to mention.
Absolutely. And the alumni groups, too, are a great way to kind of find housing or find out and also talk with an advisor because they can help you out with countries that do offer housing or that do have these benefits. So I think that's great. One of the great things about teaching English abroad, I mean, there's many, but is the community that you can build and you surround yourself with. Kristine, we'll start with you. How did you find your community abroad, and what are some of the ways that you still interact with this community while there?
So my community is almost completely local people. The only expatriates really who are in my community are the other foreign teachers who I work with, and one or two others who I meet through other people. I have to say I don't like purposefully seek out expatriates. Not for any reason other than when I'm here enough to get the full experience, and the local people are just like, can't get better than that, right? And to be honest, the people in Yakutia have been the best at just uh, being welcoming, helpful, generous, kind, open-hearted. I found it just almost everywhere I've been, but here it seems a little different. I think it's because of the weather, and I'll explain that if you want me to. So my community has been these local people. They invite you openly to anything. So I find I'm like go to things I do not like. For example, over the summer I went on a camping trip. It was just for a weekend. Met a few women there, and we got back from the camping trip on Sunday, and on Tuesday I was at one of their dachas at a cookout because they just come over to our dacha and let's have fun. So people are just very open, welcoming here. So my community just kind of grows organically from local.
Awesome. Alan, how about yourself?
In order to have a well-rounded group of individuals around me, I have it's just one of those things where you go out and you have fun and you meet other people and you start exchanging Instagrams or phone numbers, and then you meet that person at a party again or in a bar, another place again. However, there are several groups here in Barcelona. One website is called Meetup, and it's a really good website that it has whatever you want to do. So if you want to go surfing, paddleboarding, hiking, and you sign up to these groups and you go out on these excursions with people. And with that, you get to know the people around you. For example, I did a yoga lesson. It was 7 o'clock in the morning with actually another fellow ITA alum, Matthew, and we just decided to go together, and we went there, and it was amazing. We got to meet all the people around us that were locals, as well as expats either teaching English or working in a company there in Barcelona. So that's one way to get around, as well as just ITA. It's I feel the core with me and a majority of the things. So my friends that I have here have either taken the ITA alumni TEFL course, sorry, the IT course, or they have just been able to just meet somehow. So with the IT Alumni World Day, for example, we all get together, we have a good time, we exchange numbers and Facebooks and Instagrams, and then we come together. That's just a really good way, an example of how to meet more people.
It's funny.
I think I'm the only ITA alum here, so we don't have meetups.
Oh no, that's not good.
We can do that next.
Are you okay with that? Yeah.
I'll fly out for that one. That'll be good.
Okay.
So, as the Cubs announcers used to say, we're going to pause for station identification. If you're just tuning in, this is International TEFL Academy. My name is Tyler. I am with Alan and Kristine, two of our ambassadors and our alumni, and we're talking about teaching abroad with a diverse perspective. So, my next question for you is: have you ever been in any uncomfortable situations while being abroad, either teaching or traveling? Kristine.
Yes. When I was in Indonesia, actually, is when I had my first and most memorable experience. Being from Jamaica, where I'm a majority, right? I'm Black, I'm a majority. I've never felt my color. Even traveling to America all my life, I've really never felt my color. And I never felt my color until I went to Indonesia. When I first went there, I was living in Banda Aceh, which is sort of more of a closed sort of community. They kind of consider themselves part of Indonesia, but sort of also independent. And it was there where some boys, threw phones at me. That was shocking for me. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before, and it took me a while to process it. It was enraging, and it was shocking, but it took me a while to process it. There was another incident while I was there also where some women sort of kind of surrounded me because I look different, and I clearly am different. I tend to stand out in the places. No, don't go to just the typical places. So I attract attention. I try not to be deliberately stand out, but I can't exactly help it. So these women kind of surrounded me. They came down on me. They were kind of just crowding me, touching me in my face, and things like that. It was very disconcerting. Um, I it was also kind of very uncomfortable for me. So I talked to a friend about it, who's American, and she reminded me that I do things like that every day, and that because even though people give offense, I don't have to take offense. So I decided while I was there and after those incidents that I wasn't going to take offense on certain things anymore because I don't have to, and I don't want to live in a way where I'm walking around with a load of baggage and hurts because other people are ignorant. So since I've been here in Russia, I've only had one incident. And for me, it was just sort of, again, unique because it had never happened before. I was walking down the road here in Yapik with someone else, with a local person. And a guy turned around, saw me, and said, N-word. That had never happened to me before. And it sounds the same in Russian and English, if you ever wonder. And I thought, that's too bad. What is it that would make you immediately just say that? And I realized at that time that I had learned not just to say that I do offense, but I actually take offense. So I think it's all in the perspective you take and in the that you have. People are offensive, but I just choose not to take offense because I can't bother. It's like not worth my emotional energy.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, I just want to mention too, the internet does cut in and out a little bit, but if there's a connection you can do, that'd be great. Alan, yourself, same question. If there's been a time abroad.
There have been multiple instances feeling certainly uncomfortable. I guess the first one, it's really small, I think, but it makes a big impact. So during my 3-month backpacking trip in Southeast Asia recently this summer, I saw, in a sense, in Vietnam, or most parts of most countries in Southeast Asia, excuse me, have something what's like extra white, brilliant whitening.
Yes,
It's a thing to like
yes,
make your skin
yes.
more white. And I'm in a grocery store looking for
Even the mosquito
cocoa shea
repellent.
butter. Exactly. It's crazy. I'm looking for cocoa shea butter or argan oil, something to actually like work with my skin, and all I have to choose for is like extra white lotion and extra whitening in
Yes,
lotion, and it's a bit disturbing in a sense because it doesn't adhere to what I want as a person or what I need as a person. Because what does that say about my skin? And I a lot with my travels, I would get a lot of, and I still do, excuse me, get a lot of stares. I don't know. I try not to perceive exactly why that is, but being in certain places like Vietnam or being in Myanmar, just my look is just different. So whether that is my curly hair or facial features or just the color of my skin, um, a lot of people would say like, "Oh wow, look at him!" And especially in Spanish, I understand a lot of Spanish. I don't speak well Spanish, but yeah, I can understand like, "Wow, look at him." I don't know if it's just the way that I dress. It seems more like them, and they have a different personification on how I would dress. Because here in Spain, there is well, most of Europe, they're having a immigration crisis, and with that, people expect you to look or be from somewhere that you're not. For example, everyone always asks me, which I have no problem with, oh, are you from France? No, I'm from the United States. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, but where are you from? I'm from the United States. So there's a lack of knowledge and a sense of culture and slavery with Africans and Black people. And sometimes that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable because I take it as a learning experience to teach others, but I always get asked, "Where are you from?" But where are you really from? Or seeing the extra whitening in the lotion. These situations are a bit uncomfortable, but again, like I said, the first part is a bit small, but it has a big impact. Another thing that I can see is as an advertising major, most companies, the idea is to advertise to their audience, their main audience. So if you're going to advertise life insurance, everywhere I go, I see there's this Caucasian family with a boy, a girl, as well as a perfect dad, perfect mom, everyone's smiling. And I don't fit that characteristic. Am I not supposed to have health insurance? So that's something that's a bit different that I've been seeing around where I am. But I don't know how that would be in a sense towards Africa. Would it be the same, but only with colored people? How would that switch? So as the societies that I am living in now, even when Myanmar, majority of the population are my skin tone as well, or when I visited Bali, you have a mixture of skin tones, but it's where do I fit in? And that always makes me think like, oh, that's quite interesting from an advertising point of view. Where's the diversity?
Can I just add one point?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Alan mentioned standing out. I also, obviously, I stand out a lot where I am, and people stare at me a lot. People kind of look at me a lot. But I came to the realization some time ago that it's actually normal. So
Yeah.
I just ignore it. It's normal. I find myself wanting to stare at things I'm not used to seeing. And to people who look a certain way that I'm not used to seeing. So I find myself wanting to stare, but I don't because my society said it's rude to stare, right? So I don't.
Right,
But
right.
perhaps in another culture, it's not rude to stare at someone or something that looks not like you. So I come to that realization it's actually quite normal for people to stare at something that's unusual and not that regular for them. But it's just that for me, I check my impulse to stare because my society tells me it's rude and it makes people feel uncomfortable. So I kind of look at it with that perspective. And when people are staring at me, it happens like every time I'm on the street, I just say, people just curious.
Hmm. That's quite interesting because I have kind of the same point of view. Like for my society and the teachings, it's rude to stare. Correct. For some people, it's not. It's just the society and the way you grow up and the way you live or the way you were brought up. But however, when it gets into the point of like stare and then invade in personal space, because I used to have
Oh, for sure.
rastas, and someone wants to
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I love your hair, touching the hair. It's like, I don't do that to you. I like it's
Uh-huh.
part of my personal space. It's my body, and I wouldn't dare do that without obviously asking permission. But it's quite interesting that some people will ask, oh, your hair, it's quite nice. Is it yours? Yes, it's mine. It's mine. It's not fake. Oh, but where are you from? And I touch. When people ask me if they can touch my hair is, it's at the end of the day, it's hair. Like it'll grow, it'll fall. When I'm old and when I'm dying, it won't be there probably. So, it is hair. But the fact that it's mine and I have that permission to give for people to touch it, it's quite interesting that you also brought that up because my hair was also blonde and I stood out a lot and it got into things of like, hey, you look like Wiz Khalifa, or hey, you look like this person. It's like, no, I'm Alan. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Not, I don't look like anyone else. I'm just myself. So I think that is an identity crisis as well of um, having yourself, like, excuse me, not having yourself, but trying to be yourself, but others looking at you in a different way, in a sense of personifying you as some media person. Oh, you look like this. Oh, can you play basketball? Can you do that? And that's not correct in my point of view.
Yeah, I actually don't get those kinds of questions. I get, sorry, just Tyler, before we go on. I do get the hair question sometimes. Like people want to touch my hair sometimes. Oh, can I
Right,
feel it?
right.
And I let them, because I'm like, you know what? They've probably never seen a
Learning
black person. They
experience,
don't know what black hair.
teaching, right?
Sorry?
No, it's a learning experience. You're right. Like, if I deny it, then like you're
Yeah,
curious. I'm
yeah.
gonna like it's okay.
Yeah, they may never get to touch another black person's hair. Go ahead, touch it. I'll
Right.
unwrap it for you. You can feel it. Uh-huh. But I totally agree with you in terms of like the those women sort of swarmed me when I was in
Mm.
Banda Aceh. It was and were like touching my face and like, why? Don't put your
Yeah,
hands in my
yeah.
face. You know, it's so I had to deal
I'm a
with
human
that
being. I'm
situation
not a pet.
decisively and but yeah,
And
things can get very interesting at the very least.
and what about as well during? Do you feel that outside of just the travel and outside of the citizens and the people that you're meeting, do you feel that have you ever dealt with discrimination with teaching or interviewing or looking for jobs as well? And kind of how have you addressed that? If so, Alan.
Um, for with traveling, yes, in a sense. When I was working in Italy, it didn't have to do in a sense with teaching. One example, I was in a plaza and there were people in the grass. Well, being in the grass, everyone was eating, playing games, having fun. There were Italians, saw Romanians, and then I saw the situation. I thought, okay, I'm in the grass as well. So I get in the grass, I start having my lunch, and then the police pull up and they start asking for my documents and the documents of the Romanians, but they didn't dare ask for the documents of the Italians. So um, I felt targeted, and I felt that that was not correct. So what happened was one of the Romanians apparently didn't have his ID with him, so he was in the police car. And the other one was asking me questions like, "Where do you live? What are you doing here?" And I told him, "Teaching. I live right around the block. I'm just on my break." And he was asking more questions, but then the other police officer said, "We don't have time. He's American. Just let him go." And that for me was a bit like it was a bit hurtful. So I was targeted as like because of the color of my skin, but once they saw that I was American, I was no longer a threat.
For me, I'm Jamaican. I have not had um discrimination issues in terms of finding a job, not as far as I know. When I was looking for a job, uh, um, perhaps some potential employers may have seen where I was from and chosen not to contact me again. I don't know. So if there has been discrimination in terms of me while I was looking for a job, I don't know about it. And that's okay with me. I don't need to know that. Um, but in terms of other incidents of, I certainly haven't had it in my classroom. I find people here are curious, but they are respectful. So I haven't had any incidents here where I am in Russia, discrimination in my classroom or in my place of work, or generally speaking in the city. In fact, other than that one Drew guy, I haven't had discrimination, like straight up discrimination issues here. When I was in Indonesia, that was a different story. And I think, as Tyler mentioned, Southeast Asia, light skin is considered more beautiful. So everything has whitening agents in it, even the mosquito repellent. So I was not. I was like a curiosity, and
Mm,
people would want to come and try and talk to me, but
mm,
there were times when it felt like a little bit more uncomfortable,
I agree.
where they were trying to talk to me, they were just shouting things at me on the street. This is of work. I've never had that kind of issue, and certainly if there's been discrimination in considering me as a candidate for a job, I don't know about it.
I will say that it's the same. I actually tried to apply online to get into the style of teaching English online. And most companies I applied for, it was quite interesting because you see the poster person they want, or oh, we're looking for not only a native speaker, but we're looking for someone of a lighter skin. And there are some posts of which they have that description on Facebook groups of what
Wow.
they're looking for. And yeah, it's quite interesting and obviously wrong in my point of view, but it's one of those things where it's like, well, if I'm being discriminated against in that sense, if you don't want me because of my experience, then I don't
Yeah.
want to work with you. Like I want to be in a place where I'm pretty not only well treated, but I'm looked after and I'm cared after like all the other employees.
In fact, let me just add, Tyler, one more thing here. In fact, here, my school uses me a lot in their advertising campaigns because I look
That's
different,
really good.
because I
And
attract
that's
attention.
diversity. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm on billboards around Yakutsk because like they
Famous.
have magazine articles with me. I'm on the flyers. I'm like they use me. I'm all over the advertising material because they want to show, hey, we've got diversity over here, and not necessarily because they're saying, oh, we have a black lady, but because I stand out and they want to use the fact that I'm different to attract people to their school. I think it kind of probably works because I go places here and people are like, oh, hey, and they're talking to me and they know me because they've seen me on the billboards or in the magazines.
Well, so and speaking of this, Kristine, for those of you watching, has an Instagram takeover next week, I believe, and we're going to want to see
Tuesday.
those billboards. So we want to on that
Okay.
Instagram. Definitely.
I hope they're still up. I'll go check.
Is there anything that you know now that you wish you knew before you left? If you could say there was one thing, what would something that you've learned in your experience traveling that you wish you could have told yourself before you left?
I would tell myself culture shock is real. I think that's probably the only thing that I had a struggle with. And I think I struggled with it because I didn't expect it. And I didn't expect it because I've been traveling literally all my life. So I thought, oh, fine, I'll be okay. It's like I'm just traveling. But when I hit the point of living in somewhere that's totally different from where I've lived, from anything that I'm used to, I found myself in culture shock. I mean, when I was doing my master's degree in Berkeley, I had to live there, right? So it's not like I had never lived away from Jamaica. So I thought, oh, it'll be okay. But living in a society that's totally different from the society that you're from can be a bit shocking to your system. And you, well, for me anyway, I didn't realize that I had been in culture shock that first time until I was on my way out of culture shock. So um, I would warn myself and say, well, which is what I did actually when I was coming to say, okay, just remember that where you're going to is probably quite different from what you're used to. Keep your mind open, keep your mind open to the experiences, just any particular expectations of how things should go, how things should look, how people should behave, or anything. Just go with an open mind and an open spirit, knowing that things can be anyway, and I can decide if I'm okay with something or not, and not have an expectation here that it must be like this, and if it's not be like this, oh my God, something is wrong, you know. So I think for me, culture shock is the thing that I would tell myself, beware of that. And I actually haven't, I didn't have it when I came here. I'm aware of. I think it's probably because I kind of warned myself ahead of time about that.
Awesome. Alan, what about yourself? Any tips and advice?
Mine's is a bit more small, simple. It's more things are gonna be out of your hand. Just have patience, sit back, relax, drink a cup of wine, and just let it come as it comes. Because working in Spain and Italy or even in France, there are a lot of things that are out of your control. So you just have to wait either for the train or you have to wait for a job to contact you back, even though that's going to be in 3 months. Just relax, enjoy the time that you have, and make every minute memorable. Make it count.
Awesome. Well, again, I really appreciate your time. For those of you, again, these are ambassadors and alumni of ITA. Follow our Instagram. They do takeovers. You can also check us out on Ambassador Corner. Kristine and Alan have written great content, provided a lot of things for us. And again, thank you for your time. I think these are great conversations, important conversations to have. Did you have anything to add before we say goodbye to the Facebook world?
Thank you
Sure.
for allowing us to have this conversation here in this open outlet. Sorry. Thank you for having letting us have this open this conversation in this outlet, because it's a subject that's not touched on a lot. And with not only, it doesn't matter where you come from, but everyone can travel, everyone can explore, teach, and get those same experiences. However, just because we have our experiences that may be a little bit different in whatever country, it's not to put those countries on hold and saying, oh, well, don't go here because you're going to experience that. Go out, get your own experiences, and travel. That's what it's all about.
I would say two things. Although my experience, I had those kind of uncomfortable experiences in Indonesia, I enjoyed being there. Most of the people I met were just really beautiful people, and the country is amazing. It's quite beautiful. There's just so much about it that's superlative. So don't take my stories as a warning not to go there, because it's totally worth going. My other thing I would say is, go for it. Like, don't hesitate. Just go. There's one life. You have one life to live, and if you have this dream in you of traveling, go. Don't let the naysayers, don't let the people who are telling you, oh, what are you gonna do? Oh my gosh, what's whatever. They're not living your life. You don't want to have regrets. Go. Just go.
I think that's great advice. And again, thank you for your time. And for anyone else, please feel free to reach out, call an advisor, or like as I mentioned, check them out on the Alumni Ambassador Corner. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.